So guys, we've been going back and forth for the past 3 days trying to figure out what the intro to this podcast is going to be.
How to start this podcast.
Like, it's crazy because I'm just like, let's just do it. Typically, I'm cautious about everything compared to Mo over here. But I'm like, fuck it, let's just do it. And Mo is like, I want to get this perfect intro. And I'm like, guys, there's no perfect intro. It's just like, let's just do it, right? So here goes. Guys, welcome to Life is Lifing.
Welcome to our podcast. Hey, Stella.
So guys, very random intro. Okay. Stella, our homegirl, Mo's cousin, my cousin by default, since we're sisters, just walked in. Haven't seen her in over a year. No. And this is...
It's almost a year, right?
It's a year, exactly. It's a year. Actually, this is our anniversary since we last saw each other. Yeah, since we last saw each other last year. Since last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm visiting here, Houston, Texas.
Oh, yeah.
For a month. For a month. Came chill with my homegirl and my family members. And obviously rejuvenate. Get out of the Nigerian madness. I live in Lagos, Nigeria. Get out of Nigerian madness. Lagos is crazy. Life has been lifing.
Life
and I'm
has
like,
been
yeah,
lifing.
I need a break. So,
that's the name of our podcast. Life is Lifing.
Okay, yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So it was a podcast that we were just randomly talking and we were just basically venting to each other. And we're like, damn. And Jeff happened to be in the room. And Jeff is like, y'all should just do this. Like,
exactly.
So,
I think Life is Lifing is literally just us talking about like all the shit that happens in life. Like just sometimes, you go straight and then a curveball, life just smacks you to the left. So like that's what this is about. It's just talking about like the struggle, our life, being a little bit more transparent about real life shit, not sugarcoating it, not telling you what Instagram wants to tell you, but really telling you the real shit. Because when we have conversations, we always go really deep and just talk about like real shit. And we come up with solutions too, and just to help us navigate life better. So that's what this podcast is all about. It's really just talking about life be lifing, like all the shit that happens.
And not all the solutions work, but you learn a thing or two.
Facts.
But not all the solutions. In fact, sometimes it probably even gets worse. But you learn a thing or two and be like, yeah.
PSA, move at your own risk.
Honestly. Yeah.
Awesome. So that's kind of the intro to this podcast and how we started. It's just two best friends who just want to talk about life and all the craziness that happens, and hope you guys enjoy this and join us on our journey. So that is the intro to our new podcast. So just a little background. I'm Mo. I live in America and I'm Nigerian, and I have been here for I think over 20 years, maybe 15 to 20 years. Yeah, I've been here for a long time, since high school. So I'm kind of an immigrant, but second generation. And I went to, so wait, okay, and you,
okay, yeah, so
your intro.
I'm Mo.
Also Mo.
And I live in Nigeria. I live in Lagos, Nigeria. I moved back about 8 years ago. I used to live here. I moved back after college. I didn't think I could ever live here anymore. I'm more of a visitor here than a resident, and she's more of a resident in Lagos. I mean, she finally visited Lagos after how many years?
4 years.
Guys.
4 years.
It's more than 4 years.
It's more than 4
It's more than 4 years. It was like 5.
Like 5
6.
years.
Let's mark it from the time Damola got married. That was the last time we visited.
And they're like 5 years.
Yeah, so it was about 5-6 years. And she eventually came, and that's when at one point in time my mom thought we were in a relationship. I mean, my mom, my dad, her mom, a couple of my aunts, they all thought we were in a relationship. Even my sister thought we were in a relationship.
We are.
I mean, and actually remember that time when we spent that Christmas in Jersey, and we're like, if by the time we're 30 we're single, we'll get married.
Wait. No, let's give some let's give some context into this. So let's talk about our relationship. Okay. Like really quickly, right? Okay. So Dupe and I, our families have been, actually, my mom and dad introduced Dupe's mom and dad to each other. So basically, we were destined to be best friends.
Our lives have been intertwined.
And when we were young, Exactly. And when we were younger, our families used to travel to like
Together.
Christmas. We spent every summer and Christmas together. So summer, okay, so this is the crazy part. So my family is Christian, her
My
family is
family's
Muslim.
Muslim.
So in the summer, I would go over to her house for summer, and literally we'll go to like Muslim Arabic school, like Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Like literally, I'm learning how to do the prayers.
Yep.
I'm learning Arabic, and then during Christmas,
I
her
always spend
family and her and her
Christmas with
sisters
her.
would come over to my house.
And then we go to church,
And then we go
your
to
mom will be
church.
screaming that we are all running late. We should enter the minivan
We
and
gotta
get
go
to church.
My mom actually traded
And
her
we'll be singing,
Benz
what's that song?
for a minivan, a
What's
Quest
that song?
minivan, just because of all
All
the
of
kids
us.
that will come home to my house for Christmas, and we kind of just and then we didn't even go to school together. So I ended up leaving in high
in
school
high school
to America. And because I was such a great student, and because I did well, and I was a great example to all the people after me, then her parents then sent her over
I said,
to the school as well.
Follow. Moya has been there. Oh yeah, follow.
Yeah, exactly. So like we've literally been, and then we went to college. She went to college in Kentucky. I went to college in New York. But regardless of the distance, we just always saw each other, hung out with each other, traveled to see each other, and that's like the base root of our
Relationship.
our friendship, and
Sisterhood.
our sisterhood. So the cool thing about it is that Dupe has 3 sisters, and I also have 3 sisters, but she's the first in her sisterhood, and I'm the last in my sisterhood. And the weirdest part is our sisters, like we can literally,
So the middle bonds
we can
are the
match
same.
everybody.
The middle sisters are the same. My younger sister, my immediate younger sister, her immediate older sister have similar personalities. Annoying, frustrating,
stressful.
Oh my god, stressful, self-centered.
We hate that we love
the world revolves around them.
The world revolves.
But we can never
No.
tell them no for some reason. But
exactly.
and
They come,
they come and we're like, Shebi, you used to do this thing too. You used to do this. They'll be like, and so what? I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what?
Entitled.
You'll be like, if I do this thing to you now, you'll be shouting. They'll be like, since when did I do this? And I'll be like, do you remember when? And Biela will be like, I beg,
so
I beg,
yeah,
I beg.
they're very entitled.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love them, but we hate that we love them. But we love them,
But we
right?
love them, yes.
So that's the middle. And then
My last
her lastborn and my
her
firstborn
are like Zen.
are like very similar as well. They're like the
Calm.
brains of the family.
Yeah.
I don't know about calm though, but they be lit.
Mabala is calm. Oh.
Okay,
Mabala is calm. Domi can be calm.
Domi
but she
can be
has-
calm. Domi is
it's, just,
actually-
it's just like if electrocution just comes in.
Then the spark. Then the spark is wild. That's true. And but they're very like they're the brains of the family. They're the smart ones. They're the ones that they be like.
They're the ones that
"Can't
actually
be
get
like-"
you to think, because when you're on a roll and you're just going. So it's weird because we both have, like, I'm a Capricorn, she's a Leo, and like, but our personalities are very similar
Because they're
once we
best
get
friend
out,
signs.
so we just go. But then by the time we talk to them, they get us to pause and think, or revisit our thought process and
The
everything.
way I use my older sister is I go to her for everything that has to do with work, like anything serious. That's who we turn to. So like if you have an essay you want to read, you go to her. If you have like a letter, what's that thing when you get a job? Offer letter, and you want to like make sure you're negotiating. You know, that's who you will go to.
So I go to Biola for negotiation.
She's a lawyer.
Because she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And, she likes money. So she be like, negotiate.
Yeah.
And then Mobala, like, to be honest, I don't really use my younger sister. I don't utilize her enough. Like, but she's very good when it comes to, like, essays, reading, and stuff like that.
My older sister, I use the shit out of her.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm closer to my older sister than my middle sister. But then my older sister thinks I love my middle sister more than her. To be honest, I love them separately in their own different ways. But I think I'm closer to my older sister because that's who I would tell, like, I run to for everything.
I'm closer to, I don't want to say unfortunately, but I'm closer to Biola than I am to Mobala.
So second, then
second
first.
and third, yeah. Because I guess also because we live together. We're in the same country, we live in the same home and everything.
Makes sense.
So it's weird because, like, even if you come into the house, like an outsider comes into the house and sees our relationship, They'll be like, what the fuck? Like, people have asked me, they're like, are you guys fighting? I'm like, no, we're not fighting, but that's just how our relationship is, awkwardly sisterly. Because there are times, because our personalities are so different, and Biola is so stuck in her world, and I guess I'm stuck in mine.
I relate.
And, you know, when sometimes you're like, Biola, like, catch your brain now, how far? Biola just be stuck in her world. So
You know what's crazy is that similarly, I grew up with Peju than Deomi. I grew up with my second
because Deomi left earlier.
Because my sister was in London and then LA, while me and Peju were in Nigeria together. We were in New York together. I think that's why they take us for granted, because we're the nice ones, and they just be acting crazy. Yeah. But anyway, we love them either way. But so what's it like growing up with two sisters, like being all girls? Do you feel like that influenced your relationship with men, or like, do you think what do you think the impact of growing up with women was?
It's interesting because I grew up in a household where my dad is very enabling. So when you look at the Nigerian culture, where, you know, you're growing up, especially from a privileged home, your parents are telling you what you got to do. You have to study medicine. You have to study law. I mean, if you look at my family, like most of my uncles, my dad's siblings my mom is an only child. Most of my dad's siblings, you know, they're either studying law or finance or whatever. And I just woke up one morning and said, oh yeah, my dad studied political science, so I guess I'm going to study political science in school, right?
First one syndrome.
That's what it is. Because, you know, there was a point in time when I wanted to walk that path my dad did, you know, and I felt like at one point, it influenced some of my decisions because I was like a tomboy, and I was so much of a daddy's girl, and I was always there, readily available. Like, compared to my mom, if my dad should call me, I'll drop everything. And, I mean, he's the ATM, he's the, you know, the love of my life, the first love of my life, you know, and that kind of thing. And my mom is more disciplined. You know, she's more of a disciplinarian than my dad.
My favorite auntie.
And and even though like she's more family driven. So while we were abroad and we usually came home for Christmas and everything, my mom will make sure that everybody, you know, you were around then, right? Everybody, no matter where you are, if you're on the mainland, if you're on the island, if you are in one party, whatever happens, be home by 7 p.m. for dinner.
For dinner!
Unfailingly. 7 to 9 p.m. every day, dinner. If you miss it, you're in trouble. You're going to receive 1 or 2 lectures. My mom will start with the lecture and my dad will just support. You know, because he's either coming from work or going to the club or going to, you know, catch up with his friends.
He was part of the
he was obligated to show up, you know, that kind of thing. And and the thing about it is that if my dad is not around, nobody eats. And that's the problem. Because we're all hungry.
It's funny, I experienced that living with your parents because, you know, like we said, we're very close. So I lived with them for, I think, a year. I know it was a long period of time. And honestly, I grew up in a single household. So we didn't really get that family, mom, dad, kids, sit down on the table, have dinner, eat. My mom was entrepreneur, busting her ass, you know, making sure that the kids had everything we ever wanted.
Your mom was always the life of the party.
My mom was the life of she did everything. She was like a walk, play, even harder.
Like, you know what I say, eat, pray, love.
Eat, pray, love.
And for me was eat, enjoyment, and love.
That's my mom.
And just and party.
Exactly.
I love it.
So my mom was the fun mom, you know, and then when I lived with your parents for a bit, I remember like literally at 7 o'clock, we come downstairs, we all sit at the table. The cook will basically set up the table for like 3 of us plus 2 extra because a guest always came.
Somebody's friend was coming.
And the funny thing is, we'll sit down and talk about everything from politics to life to everything. In fact, life was lifing for them too at that point.
Yeah.
So they'll talk about everything. And I remember like going to work the next day and then like when the CEOs and the MDs are having conversations, Mita, I know this thing. I'm like, you know, the government, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, wow, she's so smart. Not knowing it was all table talk like the night before. But now your mom is very family oriented for sure. She loves that family thing or whatever.
Yeah. But as 3 girls, right, it was interesting because, I mean, my dad, he had 3 girls. And coming, you know, when you look at the Nigerian culture and they're like, you have to give birth to sons and all that. I respect my dad a lot because he actually has a mind of his own. You know, he's very independent, and he's not dependable on anybody. So there are a couple of things, even though it doesn't look like, sometimes he's like, babe, have fun now. Like, what's going on with your life? You know, I see the things he does. I see the things my mom does too. Like, they do. And, you know, it kind of has an impact. It may not necessarily seem important right now, or it may not necessarily relate to me right now, or it may not necessarily be a lesson I might need to implement in my life right now, but it's something that, like, you know, I put at the corner of my head. I'm like, okay, yeah, this can work in the future. There's no pressure for me. I guess more being the first of 3 girls, I tend to put more pressure on myself. So when they say life is lifing, right, it's that pressure I constantly put on myself, because I know I have to step up to the plate. You know, no matter what, I have to be Tunde and Kemi Durosimi's daughter. Whenever I walk into any room, do you understand? I have to represent the family. I have to, you know, make sure, you know, when I was in school, there was something that my mom always told me at the end of every call. I don't know how to say it in Yoruba, God forgive me. But in English, it means remember the family from which you come from. Yeah. And, you know, that really stuck to me. And even up to now, even though sometimes life be lifing, I be doing the fuck whatever I want, I still kind of remember, because it tends to limit my engagement, and it tends to help me make better decisions, because I'm like, damn, if I do this now, will it come back and bite me in the future? Or if my parents hear about it, will they have a heart attack? I mean, there was a time they found out that I
all right, so yeah, we're going to segue out of this for intermission real quick. Listen, you getting too comfortable. No. So
I was going to say drinking.
So wait, I want to actually kind of put a touch point on that. Funny enough, I didn't grow up with a dad, you know, in the house or whatever, but like, your dad was always very instrumental in my life, like very father figure. I remember thinking, like, you know, just watching the way he would be, like, because not Christmas, like when I would be in your house, just the way he would treat even me as
I think you got the most out of my dad when the time you lived with my parents.
No, I did, but like even when I was younger, like when I would come for like holidays and stuff, just seeing the way your dad was with like his girls, seeing the way he was with the family, like I just always was like, wow, I can imagine what it's like to have a dad. Like that's amazing. But one thing I wanted to touch on was what I really loved about your dad and your mom too, but your dad specifically, was that he always took me in as a daughter. You know, like when I would come to you, like come hang out with you guys. He did like the littlest things, but he probably thinks it's so little, but it was the biggest things for me.
I mean,
you know?
TD is a very sarcastic
what I mean is like, what I even mean is like, for example, if I was with you guys and he was giving like everybody Christmas money, like, you know, we all came back for holidays and then we're all at your house. He would like give and then give me, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know I was gonna get it too. Like he always treated me like a daughter. If I needed, even my first job in Nigeria, your dad got me the job. Like I remember I was literally just venting to him about like, yeah, I'm trying to work at this company, blah blah blah, and he was like, oh, I know this person, I can hook you up. And literally within a week, I was interviewing, got the job. Like, your dad was so instrumental in my life that, like...
Love to hear it.
Yeah, he definitely, like, he definitely put that father figure, like, what a husband or what a dad should be like in my head. Because I didn't grow up with that. I grew up in a house with only women, my mom and my 3 sisters. And that was one of the really father figures that I saw that I was like, damn, I want something like this. Even your mom literally taught me, her and Auntie Kemi taught me how, sorry.
It said D&D.
Sorry. So your mom, Auntie Kemi, of course my mom as well, but like my aunties, so they taught me what it's like to make a house a home. Like, you know, just I'll never forget, your mom will literally...
all those trinkets and the knickknacks.
Every season, she changes all the decoration in the house. And guess what? I do that too. Like literally in the summer, I'm like, okay, I need brighter colors.
All the knickknacks.
Let me change my pillows, the curtains, exactly.
I mean, my mom is the one that's like, she has me like when I see you put a cup on the table, I'm like, don't you have coaster? Like, where's the coaster?
Yeah, her
Like,
mom was really so like just the very influential. I really love your family. Like I feel like of course
I love you guys
I call
too.
myself like I'm part of their family in the same way you
I
guys
love
are.
you
We're
guys
blended,
too.
like blended
We're
family.
a blended family, exactly.
Yeah, because we all it's been an amazing journey. Honestly, like we've done so many family trips
and the amazing
together.
the amazing thing is that our moms are very
Similar.
Oh my god, it was
You
so
know-
funny.
no.
It was so funny. I was coming I was like, Moyo, Moyo, your mom called me. Your mom just randomly called. She was like, Dupe, please, help me go to Lekki to pick up something. I said, Auntie, I'm in the airport. She's like, okay, safe trip.
Yeah,
By the way, are you stopping in London?
Our parents treat us like their kids. Like,
Yeah.
But the funny thing about our moms is that they're both Pisces. They're literally like days
Yeah, they're
apart.
5 and 6.
They're days. My mom's
her
the
mom's
fifth.
is
Her
fifth, my
mom's
mom
the
is
sixth,
sixth. Yeah.
and they are so identical. That's why I believe in.
Yeah.
I believe in.
Destiny,
I believe
destiny, like-
in zodiac signs
Yeah.
because they have very very similar traits.
personalities.
They're very different because my mom is more of an extrovert.
Extrovert
Your
than
mom's an
me,
introvert.
yeah.
But in terms of like the way they treat
Their
us, like, the way
mothering is
very
very
identical.
similar.
Yeah.
And like while your mom is an extrovert and my mom is an introvert, they're similar. Their personalities are very, very the same. The only difference is that your mom is more outspoken than my mom. My mom tends to observe more than speak up.
My mom be like,
And then at the end of the day, they'll just go and convene.
exactly. And two of them together, when they come for you, they come.
They come hard.
They come.
Like nothing can save you when they come for you.
Honestly.
That one, we are both speaking from experience. I'm speaking from experience.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the good, so for me, growing up in a household with women, I think the way it has affected me is that it's taught me to be super independent. So like just watching the way my mom was growing up, like my mom was like a superhero mom. Like I always say that it's crazy how I did not like when I hear other people, like other friends who grew up in like single households, like how they grew up. Like some of them had to go and live with their grandparents. Some of them went to like BS schools, like, crazy stories. And I'm just like, wow, my mom literally shielded us from all of that because we went to like the best schools.
Your mom is a strong
We used to
woman,
travel every summer.
Yeah.
We used to do all the things that people with mom and dad do. Just my mom was
Just your
doing it
mom,
for all three of us. And like,
she sent you guys like it's one of the most difficult things. I respect like my respect for your mom stems from the fact that like it's not easy being a single mom in Nigeria. Not to talk of being a single mom in Nigeria and sending all your kids abroad,
dollars,
dollars to
everything.
London and to
Yeah,
UK,
yeah.
to London and to America to receive the best schools. And it's not like you were even in public schools in Nigeria. You were in the top private schools in Nigeria.
Even my mom's foresight, like just knowing how important it is for your kids to have good education, regardless of whatever the circumstances are. Like I'm literally the same age as my mom when she had 3 kids and I don't have any kids. And I'm just like, how did she do it? Like even now having one, I'm like, whew, I can't do it without a husband.
But you have to understand that the economy back then was different from
But
the
I'm even
economy
saying,
now.
just even the mindset of having to think of 3 other people before yourself, but yet she was able to think of us and still have a life. Like that's amazing. That's superhero status, in my opinion.
I mean, it shows how powerful women can be, and it's something that is constantly underestimated. I mean, women are the backbone of society, but I mean, one of the things that we constantly do as women is that we sometimes stand in our own way. So when we say life is lifing, we be lifing our lives ourselves because some of the decisions that we make, our fears, our trauma, we let that make the decisions, we let that influence the decisions that we make, which creates that kind of impact that we don't want. So one of the things that we constantly have to do is to I believe that one of the things, and it's something I have we've spoken about this many times, that we constantly have to remind ourselves is that there's no life without fear, right? And you just got to go for it. If you can't go for it, like last you fail, and I recently discovered, I mean, we've always known that there's nothing wrong with failing. I mean, all the self-help books say it, right? But it's easier said than done. You can speak, you can talk, you can give all the self-help, you can give all the best motivation and the best advice and everything. But if you don't act on those, if you don't actually practice it, it makes it difficult for you to even experience it or even understand what people are saying when they're talking to you.
Yeah. I think one of the things for me with life is lifing is that I think 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years, I did therapy for the first time ever. And I remember right before I got a therapist that year, I can't remember, was it 2020 or something? It felt like the world was closing in on me. Like, it's weird because life was getting better. Like, maybe I got a new job, maybe like, like there was stability, but there were just so many things in my head, like from either overthinking or trauma or whatever it was that.
I mean, you've always had anxiety.
No, my anxiety is on another level. I agree. But like, I remember at that moment before therapy anyway, like I didn't have the tools or the understanding of what was going on. I just felt like, why am I always getting these curveballs? It's like, you get a good job, you're doing all your hard work. Like, everything is going smooth. You're making sure, like, you're top. They're giving you're seeing your performance reviews, all 5 stars, all these things. You're a superhero. Then one day, life will just throw a curveball and they'll be like, oh, yeah, we're letting you go. Why? Oh, yeah, maybe the company doesn't have money anymore or something. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. But, like, curveballs be happening. And that's how, like, I remember that year, I think it was 2019. Actually, before Stella, okay, so this is crazy. So Stella and I went on a trip. I remember I jumped on your trip to Cambodia, and that was one of the reasons.
Okay,
because that
trip.
year I was going through the worst. I had a fucked up roommate. Work was crazy. Like, things that I couldn't control. Like, who would have known this girl? She lived in another apartment. I lived in another apartment so you could talk. You could talk.
Oh, she's just crazy.
No, she really was crazy. Like, and I'd known her, like, when you know someone in passing, like, we talk, whatever, I would never have thought the girl was really crazy. And then I moved in with her. In my head, I was moving back to Jersey from Brooklyn. It was a nice apartment. I was just like, oh, what? We have 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, everything's separated. But I'm telling you, everything was a problem. Like, I've never met... She said, oh, you took all the best...
closets. I remember all the best cupboards.
She said you have the best room because you have the room and ensuite in my room, and I was paying we were paying the same because it's the same exact size. That apartment complex, I think, they did it for roommate style, so it's like everything is the same. One just has it in and one has it out. But she had the whole left side, I had the whole right side. I just had a door and she had 2 doors, and she was literally complaining that, like, oh, your room feels bigger. Oh, I have a boyfriend, so, he has to walk. I'm like, but I'm not even outside. Like, what's the problem? And then when we were moving in, like, it was like, she brought the couch, and then, no, I brought the couch, she brought the TV, and then she'll come and be like, well, it's my TV. I remember I got so mad one day. I went to Best Buy, and then she had like a 50-inch or something. I went to buy 65. Like, I was that, and I made sure to get the newer one because I was just like, the hell, like, but this was unpredicted lifing. You know what I mean? Like, so I remember that year, just so many shit was going on. I was looking for an apartment. I broke my lease. I didn't even care. It was one of those things where I was just like, I will pay $1 million to get the fuck out of this place. Like, I don't want to deal with this girl anymore. I was crying. And the thing is, I was trying my best not to be petty and do the kind of things that I would do to Peju, my second sister, when she's annoying me. Like, I was trying not to be, like, petty or angry or whatever.
But sometimes pettiness just, makes you so happy that solves, like, sometimes pettiness is needed, I think.
Yeah, I get it. But at this point, I just wasn't in the mood to be petty. I literally just wanted a happy life. Like, I was just like, things cannot be this difficult. So, like, that happened, work happened. I've been at jobs where, like, the layoff just happens and you're just like, damn, I was literally putting my best foot forward, or you get a boyfriend, or you get a guy that you like, you're doing all the right things, and all of a sudden he's not into you, and you're just like, damn, what I gotta do to make this, like, what is the problem? And then you hear, like, all the guys, like, all your guy friends and guys or whatever, they're like, yo, you're so dope, you're so cool.
Do you understand?
Wait, like, everything is, like, you're
like,
amazing.
Damn, you're hot.
Like,
you're,
damn,
like, you look so good.
If I wasn't married, I'll come for you. Or
like,
if I wasn't this, and then you meet this guy that you're, like, being the same cool with, and he's just not valuing you either. That's not your fault. That's just life, right? So all these traumas get built up, all this overthinking, all this anxiety starts to come. And I felt like at that point, I was like, yo, I freaking need therapy. Like, I need to talk to someone. And, they're just personal Sorry, it's your thing. And they're just personal things that I can't come to you every single day. I mean, most of these things you already knew about, but like I can't come to you every day and vent about the same thing. So I ended up seeing a therapist, and I remember during that moment, like she was really giving me, like I would talk to her about certain things, and then she kind of took me all the way back to childhood, right? To like almost like breaking things down into like, where did these traumas start from? Where did this anxiety start from? Whether work was through like career, whatever, or like even if it was like, so there's this bad habit I have where I find it really hard to get very close to people emotionally, because I have this mentality. I used to have, or maybe I still do, I don't know. But I had this.
A little sprinkle. A sprinkle.
Well,
a sprinkle,
everybody says
a sprinkle. A sprinkle.
So I have this thing where like I believe everybody leaves. And I think that really limits me a lot in terms of decisions, because I don't really get close to people, because I just feel like either they will betray you or they would disappear. And I used to think maybe it's daddy issues, right? Because a lot of you hear of daddy issues all the time. But personally, I thought that was a daddy issue, growing up without a father. But during therapy, I realized that it wasn't even daddy issues at all. Like, I guess if you never lived with your dad, you can't really feel his absence, right? So, but what I realized was that, there were times that like my mom would always taking like a cousin from Ikorodu or whatever. They'll come stay with us for a while. My mom would take them to school, and like I would just wake up in the like literally they'll be with me in my house for like a year, and I would just wake up one day and they're gone, and I'm like, where's Kemi? Where's Olamide? Where's this person? And literally like they're like, oh, she's gone back home to her mom. And like there was no byes, there were no hugs, there were no like, okay, I'll see you when I come to Ikorodu to visit my grandmother, like all that stuff. And that's where that trauma came from. So I think at a really, really young age was when I actually started blocking that closeness with people, right? Where I was like, people always live. I guess maybe I'm close to you because you just never left. You were constant. But in reality, like it's just crazy how like sometimes these traumas, these life issues that we deal with actually start from way back. Childhood, and you don't realize it until you actually stop to think and like try to find, like map it out to like where it came from or whatever. So I guess my point is just that like life really be lifing, and people really go through things through overthinking, through trauma, through just the craziness of unexpected events, right?
And you realize that you realize that you're going through this, and you also don't realize that that's exactly what's happening. So sometimes like, I mean, it's necessary to just take a break and think. I mean, people say that they'll go to the spa or they're doing a weekend getaway or that kind of thing, but I think it's
instant gratification.
Yeah, I think it's deeper than that. One weekend doesn't solve it. One getaway doesn't solve it. Doesn't give you the enlightenment that you're looking for, the insight that you're looking for. I think you need to spend more. I think what people are typically try to avoid is spending more time with themselves, to even trying to understand themselves, how they arrived at certain decisions, how certain decisions impacted their reality, the consequences and everything. And I mean, personally for me, it's something that I have discovered, or I am still discovering, and have been going through the past about almost a year thereabout. So it's there's a lot. It's a lot. Life be lifing, right?
For real.
And it becomes interesting when you realize that your life is actually lifing. So the moment you realize that's the moment you're aware of what exactly is happening and life is lifing, and how you could avoid some certain situations, when you're aware about it, it becomes easier to tackle, and it becomes easier to accept and handle, because you're making more what's the word I'm looking for? Informed decisions. You're making more informed decisions, and you're more aware of those around you.
Because of their awareness, you're able to deal with it better. Yeah, it's kind of like the situation I was just talking about of the not feeling that, what's that word? Of not letting people feel close to, not getting close to people. and how it affected my
vulnerable.
dating life, for example, is that I struggle with being vulnerable, and not just with guys, even with friends. You know, I have a group of friends, Excel, where shout out to Excel. I have a group of friends where like they literally cracked me open to be vulnerable. Like, we'll have conversations, like even when I would do therapy, like they would tell me like, oh, talk to your therapist about this, you know, just being holding my hand through the journey, because there were certain things, even with my therapist, it's like I had to build that trust with her first before I was able to even open up. So I'm not really a vulnerable person.
Ironically enough,
wait, let me finish.
Okay.
I'm not a vulnerable I wasn't a vulnerable person, so it was really hard for me to connect with people very deeply. And of course now it's still a work in progress in terms of trying to express myself and tell them how I feel. But I guess tying it back to like being your own problem in life, is that, like, for instance, that situation wasn't like, it was something, it was basically me overthinking things, or me coming to a conclusion of how to shield myself from not being hurt. And then I blocked myself from getting blessings, like throughout life so far, you know. So it's like having to unlearn it, you know, the awareness to unlearn it and actually become better, and like expressing myself, expressing how I feel, even with men, is things that like I've started to practice and starting to. And the weird thing now is that I actually enjoy being vulnerable. Like I enjoy telling people how I feel, even though it still gives me like the jitters and the butterflies. But like when I do it, I notice there's a feel good
moment.
Because from being honest with myself, right, and not sugarcoating things, or not like brushing things off, like, you know what, it is what it is. He's another like, guy, he can go, we'll get another one later. But instead, just being more like, at least I was honest and I shared how I felt. It's up to him to receive it or not receive it, however, but at least I feel good about being open.
Yeah. Ironically enough, I don't think I ever told you this, but like during the time that you were going to therapy and you would talk to me about it, it was kind of like receiving second therapy. I never really went to therapy because I mean I didn't think I needed it, but clearly maybe
everybody needs therapy.
I said that's what I was saying. Clearly, maybe I actually in the long run we need it.
We need Stella for this conversation. Stella,
right?
Where are you? Everybody needs therapy.
So it's something that, but like I did receive secondary therapy from you based off of your experience and based off of what you told me your therapist did. And also we've had some really insightful, like we have a lot of conversations, multiple conversations about different like aspects of our lives, right? And one thing, like I think both of us arrived at the same moments, that you cannot really get through that, become aware, or even aware or get to that certain point, like if you're not really truly honest with yourself in terms of how you reflect, in terms of how you react, in terms of even collecting feedback, in terms of even how you act or what you're expecting from other people. The moment you stop being vulnerable and start creating vulnerability as opposed to actually being vulnerable, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't give you the real and quality relationship that you're really looking for, or that you really should have in life, you know, to live as an individual in today's society. So that lack of honesty can stop a lot of opportunities from getting to you. Career-wise, personal relationships, family relationships, and it's easy. To be honest, I'm not a vulnerable person. In fact, all, you know, it's interesting because
I beg to differ.
Moya is.
I beg to differ.
No. With certain people, it's interesting. I say it's interesting because you have been the bridge in some of my relationships, especially with my family. Primarily because, I mean, if they vex or if we're clashing, I just tend to step away.
You close off.
I just tend to step away and leave the house and just continue going out. Like I'll come home, crash, leave, you know, that kind of thing. And she has been the bridge in my relationship because she's like, okay, auntie, you know, this is what I think.
This is who Dupe
this
is.
This is who Dupe is. You know, this is where she comes from. This is where she's coming from. This is how she feels. Or why don't you try this? And Moyo will be like, you know, your mom is coming from this. You should just calm down and listen to her. Just take it as it is. Don't even say anything. Just take it. And when you're done, just, you know, go back and, you know, it's easier said than done. It's hard, you know, but the moment, like, I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Let's try it her way and let's try it everybody's way since my way is not working. It's still a bit bumpy because sometimes I still have to, like, recall and, like, remind myself that, okay, Modipe, calm down, that things are, you know, just take it easy, you know. And I think I'm still on that journey, and I can tell you when I tell you that I really did not start enjoying a lot of my relationships till like the past year, and not like personal relationship, but like overall relationship, like my family, with my friends, even with my recent boyfriend, you know, we're still exploring, but like, it gives me more confidence in my relationship because I realize that you don't necessarily have to change for people, you know, and if people can't accept you for who you are, then what's the point? So it's either you just move on or...
I think with that, so I used to get angry at people a lot because I'm like, how can you not know? How can you be like this? Like, why are you this way? Like, it's common sense, you know, but I've started to understand...
Or you expect people to treat you how you treat them.
Exactly. And that was me. But I think I've started to realize that sometimes you just get to know somebody for who they are. And then you make the judgment to yourself. Do I want to be friends with this person? Do I care to be around this person?
What value is this person adding to me?
Even if that too, but like also and then how to manage the person as they are. So instead of trying to change them, I think you should be more like this or you should do this. I'm just like, this is who this person is. This person is naturally a selfish person. So therefore, I'm never going to expect anything from this person. You know what I mean? So that's how I think I've learned to cope with people. And that's why I've started to keep more friends, because now I just literally will be like, you know, this is who she is. I get it. Now I know when to come to you and how to deal with the person. Exactly. I think that definitely has helped me a lot with relationships nowadays. I mean, yeah, for sure. So one thing I would say is that, like, one of the amazing things that I don't even know how we do this is our long distance friendship. So we're miles away from each other. We're 6 hours.
So it's so funny.
6 hours.
It's so funny. You're 6 hours behind.
She's 6 hours ahead of me.
I'm 6 hours ahead.
You're 6 hours ahead of me. But
it's so funny.
Wait, let me finish. Right? Let me land.
Okay,
so,
land.
But when I tell you we talk so much, and I still go to bed at my time at 10. She still goes to bed at 10. But we talk so much. It's crazy how sync we are. Like, you know, like our timing is crazy, but we make it work.
We know when to call each other.
Yeah.
And you know, it's so funny. I tell people, like, when I talk about Moya, I'm like, Moya is an amplified version of me. So they're like, amplified version.
Amplified version.
Oh no. So the people that know me, they're like, okay.
Double wahala for the
They're like, but no, like, so, like, it's interesting because I've had friendships that have, you know, Moya is my oldest friend and my best friend. I've had friendships that have been a bit shorter and not as long, but it's interesting because being friends doesn't necessarily have to be difficult. It's more about understanding the person that you're friends with, right? You know, there are certain times where we haven't spoken for days, and we'll pick up the phone and call each other and continue from where we left off. Like, we spoke yesterday, like nothing. There are times where we fought, and the next day, is that Moya be like, oh yeah, sorry, oh yeah, or oh yeah, now, you know, Moya is more emotional than I am. Sometimes Moya is more emotional than I am. She's more of a lover girl than I am. She's more of a cuddle buddy than I am. She's more of a gum buddy than I am. You know, we can be in the car. I mean, we're in the car alone together. Moya came to sit down beside me. She's like, I just want, I like body heat. I'm a girl.
But you know the crazy thing is I do it with Pedro too. Like Pedro will literally be like, Mo, you move. I'm like, no, like I
like
want to be
body
close to you.
heat. But it's so
mind you,
funny when they can't find Moyo, it's me they'll call.
Yeah.
Even in Nigeria, it's me they'll call.
But that's because like we talk all the time. And I guess what I was trying to get to was that how are we able to keep our relationship so solid? Where like even though with all the time difference, the far location, I mean we don't even see each other for a whole year, but literally I can tell you everything about Dupe that she's doing. I can't even tell you where she is at the moment. Like that's how close we are. So like what do you think? Like for me, I think what keeps us grounded is really more of the kind of conversations that we have together.
Yeah.
I think, and that's why I'm really excited for
and
this.
There's no judgments.
And that's why I'm
no
really
judgments conversation.
Yeah, that's why I'm really excited about this podcast, because really and truly, like she and I, we really have our conversations are never really about like, oh, let's like surface level stuff. We always go deeper and always try to find a solution to like the problems we're having. I'm a very solution driven person, and I feel like every time she and I talk, like Dupe will come to me, I'm already telling her 5 ways we can solve this issue. Your matter is my matter. Like, how are we doing this? But I think we've, what allows us to really maintain this friendship is honesty. Like we're able to really speak about even the worst things, like the worst things we can go through, girl. We got stories for days.
And we'll chest it.
And then we're very honest with each other. There's sometimes, Dupe will tell me things I don't want to hear. I might be angry to hear it, but like the moment I hang up, I'll think about it. I'll call her back and be like, you were right, but I'll do it. And the same thing with her as well. Like we have really, really deep, honest conversations, and that's what really solidifies our bond, I think. And then, yeah.
And we didn't make it work. It's not work.
We make it work.
No. It's not like work. Like it doesn't take effort. Right? It's more of your go-to person. Who is your go-to person? I'm like, last. If I'm dying, Moyo is the only person I'll call, even if she's in America.
Exactly.
Because I know that she'll pick up my call.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And
you see me, you see her. That's my best friend.
Yeah, like literally, that's what it is. It's like when I was coming here, her family, my family, they're like, okay, so that's the end. I'll hear from you till.
Because we gonna have conversations.
I know, they don't hear from you till I go back to Lagos. I'll hear from you till.
Even my older sister, I talk to her every single hour of every single day.
Did you call her today?
No, I did not.
You better call her after this.
So the funny part is the moment when I picked up Dupe from the airport, she was like, oh, and then I was like, okay, we'll talk to you later, bye. And she goes, oh wow, so that's it, Mo? Not talking to you for a whole month? And then she called. I haven't spoken to her for like 3 days because you've been here for 3 days now. And literally, she called yesterday. I was like,
she called my phone.
She called my phone. I didn't pick up. And then she called her phone, and she was like,
she said, I knew you didn't pick up my call.
And she was upset. But like, but that's just how our family also views our relationship, because they know we're like thick or thin, ride or die, beans on rice, 1 and 2, and so I guess that's why I'm really excited about this podcast and all that we're going to do and talk about. Is just we're going to be really having like honest conversations about life and really like, I guess, base it on different topics. So we'll talk about work, we'll talk about boys, we'll talk about relationships, we'll talk about
all those nicknames
money.
You give the boys you're talking to. Oh my God.
We'll talk about
the nicknames girls come up with. Oh my God. Oh my God.
We're definitely gonna have nicknames on the podcast. So
I know
they might know who they are, but that's their business.
I know,
stay
right?
tuned, and just the craziness of how life be lifing. So it's like we're giving you a preview into our friendship, into our conversations, and I'm really excited about this.
I am too. Like I said, she's an amplified version. I'm more calmer, so namaste.
I think we'll let you guys be the judge of that. I think sometimes when we go out, I'm lit. You're lit too, actually.
I am calm.
I don't know about that. Well,
I just like to enjoy myself. Like, I like to be a soft life baby. Once in a while, I just like to enjoy myself. And I like dancing. When you go out, I just want to go out to dance, not try to have conversations. Like some people try to be having conversations in the club. Like, what the fuck, yo? I want to dance, not listen to you pitch me.
Talk to me.
Pitch to me a business or like.
So that's another thing. When Dupe and I are together, we party. We lit.
Yeah.
Like we have a good time. We just dance, vibe. It's just good energy around Dupe. Honestly, like love
I love
her
you
to death.
too, babes.
I know you do. But anyway, so we're gonna wrap up this podcast. Our first episode. OMG, life be lifing, and
can't wait to hear more from you. Hoping to get more ideas, not necessarily ideas, but feedback from you guys.
Yeah.
On what you'd also like to hear from us based off of our experiences.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know it all. We would also love to learn from you. I would also love to hear about your experiences with your besties, or with your friendships dynamic, or how life be lifing. I mean,
that's exactly what we want to hear.
Yeah,
how life
I want
be
to
lifing.
I want to hear how life is lifing, because we all learn from different people's experiences. So it's something that we and our audience can also learn from. So I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you.
Awesome. Yeah, exactly. Like she said, so we're going to. So this is an exciting moment, because I swear I've always wanted to do like a project or something
With
fun
for
with
the
Dupe.
past year.
So this is really exciting. But we have to give a shout out to the person who's making this happen right now.
Jeff.
Our buddy Jeff. Jeff, you have to show yourself on the camera real quick.
Hi.
That's Jeff. It's not just Jeff, actually. It's Jeff Lubin. The Jeff Lubin.
The Jeff Lubin.
The Jeff.
Baby boy Lomo.
Boom, boom.
Pow.
Mic drop. But anyway, thank you so much. Jeff has been amazing. We literally were having a random conversation about this, and like he's like, let's do it, and just set everything up, and here we are doing our first episode. And Stella's here, but she went into the room. She checked out for a second.
Yep.
But shout out to her for coming through as well. So we're really excited, and we hope you guys stay tuned, subscribe. What do they say in podcasts? Is it subscribe?
Subscribe.
So
Life
subscribe
is
to Life is Lifing podcast with Mo and Mo squared. And we'll see you in the next episode. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Peace. Start, girl. Moo.
All right, we ready? You didn't say that.
You said we
Hi,
started.
hi, everyone. But I didn't even hear my voice before we started. I just heard music.
Yeah, that was you.
Ew. Hi, everyone. Welcome to...
Life is laughing.
No, I don't like that. Let's start again. So can we start again? Like, let's start. Like, stop. Let's start again. Say hi to the camera.
Say hi to the camera.
It's not just Jeff, actually. It's Jeff Lubin. The Jeff Lubin.
The Jeff Lubin.
The Jeff.